£55 million, rising to 60 with add-ons. And for most of the 2 years since Mason Mount has been Manchester United's most expensive ? 20 appearances in year one, injury, a number 7 shirt that he has really never fully grown into. But 3 friendlies into preseason, Michael Carrick has done something no one predicted. He pushed Mason Mount deeper, paired him up with a 22-year-old Brazilian. Most fans outside Stamford Bridge never knew how he played since 6 weeks ago. An early sign suggests that it might be the position that finally makes Mason Mount make sense at Old Trafford. Today we are breaking down exactly what this role demands and uses 3 preseason matches worth for evidence to answer the only question that matters. Is he actually working? Let's start with a stat that explains everything. Heading into the summer, Kobbie Mainoo was the only fit senior natural centre midfielder left on United's books. That's it. Casemiro's contract had run out. His transfer market is gone. He's heading to Inter Miami. Manuel tore his ACL playing for Uruguay in the World Cup and is sidelined for most of the season. One midfielder. That's the crisis Michael Carrick walked into this summer with. The market response was immediate. £48 million on plus 2 in likely add-ons for Chelsea's Andrey Santos, a 22-year-old defensive midfielder United fans are still getting to know. Had Youri Tielemans picked from Aston Villa by activating his release clause, and that's £83 million committed to the engine room before a ball is even kicked competitively. With the club still linked to more names like Alex Scott, Tyler Adams, Aurelion Chouamani, Carlos Baleba, and so many more, depending on who you believe, of course. But here's the twist. The player Michael Carrick has actually built his first team, his first choice pivot around this preseason isn't one of the new arrivals. It's Mount, Mason Mount. It's this new role, tactically, Carrick 4-2-3-1, and a double pivot is where all the coaching detail lives. This isn't 2 players doing the same job. It is a clean split based on what we have seen so far. Santos' job is to sit in behind, screen the back 4, and be the release valve. First part out of defense. Reports out of Man United's preseason camp describe him as happy to drop deep, take it from the centre-backs and dictate tempo from there. Think closer to a registrar than a destroyer. That is what Andrey Santos is going to be playing. His defensive positioning and reading of the game have stood out while he's still building match sharpness. While Mason Mount's job is everything different from what Santos is doing. With Santos anchoring possession, Mason Mount gets the license to push into pockets between the position's midfield and their defensive lines. Receive on the half turn, break lines with progressive passing into the front 3. It is a proper number 8 role. Arrive late in the box, be a goal threat from the midfield, cover a ground box to box. Not the free number 10 role that he has played for most of his United career. And this isn't a radical reinvention as the headlines are making it sound. Go back to Mason Mount's derby days under Frank Lampard. He played almost exactly this withdrawn central midfield, collecting possession from the back line, and he done it since for Manchester United. The retention, the quick turn under pressure, the willingness to press and track back, that's always in his game. Just further up the pitch at Chelsea. What's new is what he's doing at Old Trafford in the Champions League season at 27. Michael Carrick didn't design this in a lab either. He found it by accident. Late last season, with Casemiro unavailable, he threw Mason Mount directly into the number 6 role as emergency cover. The numbers were genuinely encouraging. 3 tackles, 3 interceptions, 2 clearances, and a block. A real defensive midfield output. But here's the stats caveat. The first caveat in that situation. It's the one worth remembering before you get carried away in this situation. He lost the clear majority of his individual dues in that game. Winning the physical battles as a pivot player against Premier League 6s and 8s is still an unproven part of this whole project. That's one thing for sure. So how is it actually gone? How has it gone so far? 3 matches in. Here's the sample size we got. Game 1, Wrexham and United lost 1-0. Not the start anyone wanted, but tactically, this was the pivot, the pilot episode. Mount and Santos lined up together in the central midfield from the first whistle. The partnership's first minutes together in anything resembling a competitive fixture. Game 2, Rosenborg, a statement result, 5-0 against the side already 13 matches into their season. Generally sharper match fit opposition than Wrexham. This is where it started clicking. With Bruno Fernandes absent, Mason Mount wore the captain's armband for the second half. One of the 2 occasions he has captained the side this preseason. Harry Maguire getting the other turn. Afterward, Mason Mount was publicly talking about his new midfield partner, crediting Santos' game reading ability and his experience despite his age. He would apparently be watching Santos rise through Chelsea's academy and the loan spells from a distance for a while. That's what Mason Mount said. Game 3, the big one, Atletico Madrid, August the 1st, in Stockholm. This is Simeone's side, fresh rebuilt with Alex Grimaldo and Morten Holmand, and of course, Lee Kang-in. Genuine quality, not a tour opener warm-up act. Atletico actually went ahead in 5 minutes from a deflected Anos Ortiz cross that snuck in the near post, or in the far post, whichever way you want to describe it. A low XG, if we are being honest. It's not a goal that usually goes in. The kind of shot that goes in from town 1 out of 10 times. United's comeback is the headline in that situation. A Brian Mbeumo brace, 1 from the spot and 1 from a proper finish in the 74th minute. 2-1 final score. But the detail actually matters on this video especially is how Mason Mount played the full 90 minutes in the pivot alongside Santos. Not subbed, not managed. The full match against the best side United have faced all preseason. That's the clearest signal yet that Michael Carrick trusts this partnership for real. But there's of course a quick subplot before the verdict in this situation, because I think it matters more than people are giving it credit for. 2 captaincy stints in the preseason, both in Bruno's absence with Harry Maguire getting a turn. That's not a random squad's rotation in my mind. That looks like Michael Carrick quietly building a leadership structure. The same way Ruben Amorim ran a 6-man leadership group around Bruno last season. If Mount's first fitness holds up through August, being trusted with the armband twice in preseason is a bigger signal than where he sits in the squad's pecking order than most people are clocking right now. So starts first, opinion after. Like always on the channel, of course. The starts, the progressive passing profile clearly fits the advanced pivot role. Santos looks like a legit long-term partnership, not just a preseason pairing. The playing 90 minutes unbroken against a real Atletico Madrid side is genuinely fitness marker for a player whose entire career, especially at United, has been defined by his injury record. But this isn't settled. United have 4 more friendlies left. PSG, Leeds and AC Milan among them. Before a ball is kicked for real, the club is still credited with interest in the central midfield reinforcement even after 83 million already spent. This role is an audition, not a guarantee for anybody. And the one number I would tell you to actually track once the Premier League starts isn't the pass completion percentage or the heat map. It's the dual count. That's the swing factor for whether he sticks past the first bad away day at the ground that presses you into mistakes. Progressive passing wins preseason friendlies, of course. Winning an individual battle wins the Tuesday night in a proper away game in February. If you want the Santos deep dive next, because that partnership isn't the other half of the story, drop it in the comments and I'll get it made. Smash the subscribe button if you are locked in for the season, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.